This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. Yeah, the holidays are upon us, essentially, and could be in the throes of holiday season when you see this or listen to it. Great time. There's always a lot of joy, a lot of celebration, but also there's grief that comes along with that because of a potential life change for some and maybe a different situation which could bring you down. We're going to talk about processing that over the holidays with somebody that offers all different types of therapy, from CBT to DBT, and just works with people on trauma and is just a wonderful person, I have to say, even with her charity work and helping our veterans and so much more. Jennifer Wolf joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good. I'm glad we're talking about
Good.
this. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that you deal with this from time to time where people are just, best description, down during the holidays for a number of different reasons, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It is, as you stated, a beautiful time of year, but it can also be very difficult just to swim through it for many people.
Yeah. And there's so many different reasons. It could be loss of a loved one, divorce, uh, children moving away, whatever it may be. But it's grief is loss. Are we safe in saying that?
Absolutely. It's breakups are loss. Like you said, divorces, being empty nesters may be new to you. Grief can be anything we consider a loss. Losing our home, having a car repossessed, anything can be a loss.
What's the first step in dealing with that, whether it's fresh or whether it's been around for a while?
The first step is to acknowledge that it's tough. And it's okay to acknowledge and validate that for ourselves. We don't need other people to tell us it's okay to grieve, which I don't think it's done with um, intent to hurt us, but often people will say, I think it's time to move on, or aren't you over that yet? Or are you still worrying about that? And that's such a painful thing to say to somebody. So validate for ourselves. This is tough. This is how I feel. And it's okay to feel this way. First step.
So acknowledge it. It's real. It's acceptable. You're entitled to feel that loss.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of societal pressure to not sit down and say, "Man, do I feel like garbage?" And it's perfectly okay to feel like garbage sometimes.
Um, Somebody told me once, and I get what we're talking about here. And somebody said that, yeah, on a holiday, whatever it may be, it's think of it this way. There's loss, but think of it also this way. It's just another day too. We put a
Mm.
lot on you know, the formatics of a holiday and all of that, but you know what? It's another day, and tomorrow's another day too. And life does change. Is that an okay way to look at it?
I think for some people, depending on the strength and the depth of the loss, I think some people have to look at it that way. It's okay to not celebrate. It's okay to say, I'm sitting this year out. I don't have what it takes. It's too much pressure, too much stress. So I think you have to do what is best for you and really listen to yourself and take yourself out of the pressure of society, family, people who tell you what a holiday or a celebration is supposed to look like, because for you, it may not look that way at all.
Right, right. And again, we're changing all the time. Life changes, and that's a hard one to swallow, but things can be different, and everybody's life changes. They say that we change our perspective on life every 5 years, whether we realize it or not. And with that, then there's the obvious changes that come along. How do you further help people deal with these changes?
I think one of the important things is we can look at ourselves a lot, but many people will look to help us. And the most important thing that somebody looking to help us can do is offer. you're welcome to come over. You're welcome to spend it with us without any pressure, without expectation. You need to do this. You should be there. How dare you? It's just as important that the people on the outside are supporting us as well. Do not put pressure on somebody who is struggling and assume that it's the worst of the worst if they say they're not going to join in festivities this time. It's not always, a lot of people will say, are you suicidal? Which maybe, that's a thing too. But don't assume that because they want to sit out the holidays that equates to suicidal intent. Often it just means it's too much. So it's super important that we support those we know have significantly experienced a loss. And as far as we go, we need to sit with ourselves, do a check in, and say, what do I really need right now to get through this? For some, it is an overabundance of people and busyness. For some, it is peace and quiet. You have to ask yourself and do what you want to do because it is your answer, not somebody else's.
So let's flip it around. You're aware of somebody that could potentially, or they're going through a tough time. How do you approach that? Without getting in the way, without bringing up, negative memories and potential pain.
Simply acknowledging, I know this is a tough time of year, or I know what you just went through a month ago, wherever you are in that process. I know it's a tough time of year. So if there's anything I can do, let me know. If there's something that we're doing as a group or a family or a friendship or work, anything that would make you feel better or supported, please know you are welcome to join us, but there is no pressure. And I get what you're going through at this time of year. So don't feel pressured. Just know that I'm here and just leave it at that.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know if you can do anything more than that. And just be welcoming and mean it. Because I feel
Yes.
that people pick up on that and pick up
Mhm.
on your vibration. Um,
Mhm.
what else should we know about dealing with that? Let's flip it around now. You're that person going through some challenges. The holidays are coming. It's starting
Mhm.
to slowly eat at you inside like maybe it did last year, maybe the year before that. What do you do?
It's important that we know wherever we are in the process of grief. And we'll focus on the loss of a loved one because I think that's a big one. We could talk about, job loss and not wanting to spend money on Christmas but let's really focus on that. It doesn't matter where you are in the process. One year, your 50th, who knows? You're going to feel something. And we cannot let other people's input tell us how long our grief should last, what stage we should be out of by now in the stages of grief, how we should spend our time and our efforts and our energy. We cannot let other people do that for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And those intimate self conversations help us to do that. So I think recognizing where we are in the process and being okay with it. If we're angry, it's okay that we're angry that we've lost somebody. We can acknowledge people. Some people will, especially with children, they'll set a place at Christmas for their loved one.
Hmm.
And it includes them maybe with a picture. Others aren't there yet. It doesn't matter if you're there. Do what feels right for your family, your kids. Have a discussion if it was a spouse about how we can include that person in our family still that feels good and safe. A
Hmm.
lot of acknowledgement coming from within ourselves helps us to get through that.
What about new rituals? So, somebody's gone and you develop a new tradition.
I think that's a great idea, especially if kids are involved, because what we don't want to do is put the kibosh on celebrations that kids are excited about. So we start new things, or as I said earlier, include them in some way that helps the kids get through it, even though it's hard for us as adults. Our kids have to come first. So we may mourn in silence or at the end of the day, which sucks, I know, but our kids do have to come first. So starting new traditions might feel very fresh and new, or we carry out the traditions that we know our loved one would have wanted us to.
So we're talking about grief here and loss and around the holidays, but centering on that loss in general, and that could be anything. That could be, I spoke to somebody recently that was in a car accident, drunk driver, and they're dealing with the loss of mobility.
Oh
So
my
they're
gosh,
grieving,
yeah. Mhm.
they're grieving that. Um, when it's that type of situation, so not the loss of someone, or somebody did you wrong, somebody did something hellacious in a relationship. How much compassion should you give them? Maybe you know where they came from. Maybe you know where they came from. Should there be that compassion? Is that going to help you move along in terms of the grief process? You know, giving them a slight pass, if you will, slight understanding, or it's just that's not going to work.
Compassion's the most important thing we can do for each other. And it doesn't need to be to the degree of allowing someone to like self-sabotage and wallow. If somebody's really going down a bad path, we do need to be the person who says that we recognize they're really struggling. What do we need to do to move past this? What do we need to do to recognize our new reality? And that's really what people are struggling with, is there's a new reality that they may or may not understand fully. What can we do to support you through this new reality?
Mm. I guess that's the hard pill to swallow. You can't change it. That's the painful
Mhm.
part. It's here. It is what it is. I hate to say that, but those are true words. People have even called me out. Hey, don't say it is what it is. Not a bad way, but it's that's the situation. So now you have to, take stock in that, look at it a different way. Um, if it's not the loss of somebody, well, you know what? It could be in what I wanted to bring up here, forgiveness. So maybe you did lose somebody. There's a lot of guilt going on there. I should have seen them more often. I should have took them to the doctor. We should have gotten those tests sooner, on and on and on. You have to forgive yourself for that. And then when people do things to you and there's a loss involved in that, I would imagine there's got to be some forgiveness involved there too.
Yeah, so one of the things I think people really struggle with is when we're doing some hard work, heavy therapy, and the word forgiveness comes up, people are often activated by that word. Why should I forgive him? What he did was terrible. Why should I, forgive God for taking someone I love away? Whatever your beliefs or your feelings are, they're very activated by that word. And if you start to process through what forgiveness means, it can sometimes help us feel a little bit better about the word forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about the other person, like we often assume right away. We're not forgiving them because they were a good person or they did right or what they did was fair. We're forgiving them for ourselves. I forgive them for
Yeah.
doing this to me. I realize that they are not mentally healthy right now, or they come from a bad childhood. Who knows? Because what it does is weighs us down to not forgive. They don't care. They've moved on. They're doing their thing. You're not hurting them by carrying around anger and resentment. In no way are you affecting them, only yourself. So we kind of like blowing on the dandelion, let it go. Let it go.
Mm. That's another hard pill to swallow where
Hmm.
you just want to get something out of them.
Yeah.
you know, uh,
Karma.
well, you know what? That's how I, write on that. We don't keep the score. Maybe the universe does, and
Hmm.
let it be done what needs to get done. That's out of your hands. All you can do is do the best you can to just move past it. Um, but then again, also how do you forgive yourself? For situations, and we're talking about grief and loss here. In that situation where maybe somebody passed and you're feeling, should have done more, all of that. How do you release yourself from that?
It takes a lot of work. It is a process. And the first thing we need to do is say it's okay that it's been 6 months and I've not been able to do that. That's okay. That is a long process of a lot of reality based discussions. What logistically could you have done? what happened to this person that they have passed? And is it above your pay grade? Chances are it probably is. And no matter how hard you tried, you are not capable of changing or fixing the outcome based on what that person went through. The average Joe cannot cure cancer. The average Joe cannot fix you after a mangled, terrible car wreck. We see it with our soldiers. We can't, as their family members, fix or solve it. So we have to have a lot of reality-based discussions, whether it's with ourselves or a therapist. It's not your fault. As much as we want to, it's not your fault.
Not easy to do. This is where you come in.
It's really
And
hard.
it's really hard. And you can talk to others, and a lot of times friends and family will just tell you what you want to hear.
Mhm.
But that can only go so far. What else should we know about the holidays and processing that grief and moving through it? I want to say move past it, but moving through it.
That's all you can do is move through it. You take it we use the phrase one day at a time. As you're getting through holidays without a loved one, it's 1 minute at a time. What feels good right now? I'm going to do that. What do I need right now? I'm going to do that. Don't let other people dictate or drive for you. Recognize that things are out of your control with this. And that's terrifying as humans. We don't like that, but this is out of your control. There's nothing you can do to change this. So we live in the moment. We live for ourselves as we get through a really difficult process.
Yeah.
And do not be very cautious when approaching someone grieving, not to give platitudes. It's angering. It's
Mm.
angering.
A lot of research has been done about writing things down, keeping a journal, and I do mean physically writing things down, not just typing them, the powerful connection between the mind, the hand,
Yep.
and getting it out. What do you think about that person is gone in your life? Holidays are different, situations are different. What do you think about writing a letter to them? Obviously, they're not going to get it. It's almost if, go with me on this one, writing a letter to Santa,
Mhm.
where, as a kid, we used to express, I love you, Santa. I really want that wagon, that BB gun, whatever it might be. Um, what about doing that as a way to feel better?
It is something I recommend to every single person who is going through the grieving process. What I tell them to do is a little different. So, say oh my gosh, I just got dumped the day before Christmas and I'm so mad, and the anger and resentment, and oh, I hope something bad happens to them. And all of those emotions come out. I tell them to write a letter to that person, as ugly and hateful, whatever it is that you want to say. And then about a week later, revisit it. See how you're coming. And when
Mm.
it feels good, burn the letter.
Yeah.
With someone who has passed, I tell them to write a letter saying all the things. Are you angry at them? Um, so tell them, I'm upset. How dare you leave me? Write to God. If your belief is God took this person from me, and keep those someplace safe. Revisit them when it feels right, but don't dwell on them. Don't read them every single day. Do check ins and see how you're feeling with regard to that letter. Make updates, scratch it out, rewrite it.
Mm.
Writing is such a powerful tool that takes it from up here and puts it out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you look at energy, many study it. I do. Fascinating. Every day there's another, proof and evidence and all of that. When you burn it, you are throwing it to the universe
Hmm.
in an energetic, symbolic way. And I'll tell you, I keep a journal. I used to write in it more. I write less now. But what I've found that I went through a period of just writing the negative stuff. And
Hmm.
then if you think of that journal, that's just a book.
Hmm.
As your therapist, it's almost as if I don't, and you're your own therapist when you're writing. Like, I don't want to hear me anymore. It's like, I don't hear
Shut
me.
it down.
Shut it down. And
Yeah.
so I let some time go by and then I refocused it and more, not like, rainbows, lollipops and all of that,
Hmm.
unicorn, more of a positive spin on it. It had the stuff that was challenging, but more of the positive stuff, and it just kind of changed it for me. And I didn't even realize I was putting the negative stuff in there, which is fine, just venting it, getting it out. But then I found like I wasn't doing it anymore because it was dragging me down. So you got to find what works for you. But that was a realization that I had, and I was like, "Ah." And then time went by, and I couldn't figure out why. That was why.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's wonderful to revisit those moments because you can say, man,
Yes,
look how far I came. I've come
100%.
really far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only regret I have is not keeping a journal years ago.
Hmm.
Life changes. So when it was that to now, and somebody told me, oh, what do we hear? Almost 20 years ago, they would keep a journal and I would hear it. And I started a little bit, maybe a few pages, and then I let it go forever. That's my only regret because I would have
Hmm.
loved to look back and what was going on with my head, the frame of mind, all of that then as compared to now. And then, but certainly what you're saying now, I started heavily hitting the journaling a year ago. Really cool, isn't it? To see the
Hmm. Yes.
progress and just
Yes.
where,
It's a
and
timeline.
right? It's like profound. And
Hmm.
I love getting into details. Well, I'm sitting here by the ocean writing this, because it's just a, then I get the visual. It brings me back. Oh yeah, that's what I was feeling at that moment and all of that. I don't think we put enough importance on journaling and writing the stuff down.
Yeah. We consider it a teenage girls type of thing, and it's
Yeah.
so not. It's
Or
way deeper.
we don't realize how important and beautiful it is. We like, I can write it down. I ain't got time for that. What's on TV? You know?
Yes. Yes. So
What else
true.
can you share? Final thoughts on helping somebody navigate loss and grief through the holiday season? Anything that we should mention?
I think we covered that. Just be a support behind them. If they were to fall back, we'd catch them, but we can't be behind them pushing either. Just be there in case they fall.
Yep. And if it's you navigating that in your life, maybe in solo, um, I think the message here today is life changes and go with that change. But whether it's new traditions, whether it's writing, um, unfortunately, it is a part of life. You know, it it
It is.
it is. I don't even want to say that, but it is. Been there. I get it.
Yeah.
Um, how do we connect with you, Jen? What's the best way?
So we have a website, destinationsequinetherapy.com. It's a great way to learn about me, the things that we offer, how to reach out, schedule appointments, all of my socials, watch YouTubes of videos where you get some free mental health support and advice. Whatever works for you, just let us know what we can do to support.
Beautiful. And just a reminder, destinations is spelled a little bit different, right?
It is. It's Destination CIONS instead of a T. So
I'm
it's
trying to
a
remember back.
interesting spelling.
Horse's name, right?
Yes, named after my horse. Yeah.
Love it. Um,
Yeah.
we're all on a journey and we're going to reach different destinations. I'm not going to say we're going to reach a final destination. It depends on what you believe, I guess. You
It
know?
does. It
Yeah.
does a lot. Yes.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Appreciate it.
very much.
Likewise. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.